Hello YouTube, this is a Satsu5 and I got a machete review for you. Tell you the truth, I don't know if I would call it a machete. It's kind of a cross between a machete and a knife, which is the case with most high quality machetes. This is not a high quality machete, it's just a better machete than the machetes you get at Walmart. Although if they stop selling this at Walmart, I guess I'm going to have to use the term hardware store machete. But this is the scmach1 machete, and I got it because you can kind of see it in the sheath. It has kind of a Texas clip to it, which is kind of a style of Bowie knife. It's a little bit exaggerated, but it has like a, I've seen this historical Bowie knife design before. The handle's a little bit different, but from here to here, I've seen it before. It's kind of similar to the cable zombie, swashbuckler, I think is what it's called. It's kind of similar to the Colombian River knife and tool Machete, which I think is cool. Don't own one, but I wouldn't mind owning one. And I saw this at Academy Sports and Outdoors, and it is. By the way, I think this is my first schrade knife review, so that was a benchmark for you. I generally don't like schrade products. I own one other schrade, or Taylor Brands product, and that is the pen. But I generally don't pay too much attention to schrade. And I saw this machete and it caught my eye because of the lines on this machete. It was aesthetically pleasing to me. I liked the way it looked, and it seemed to have a good grind on it. Like a lot of machetes don't have a grind on them. They might be slightly beveled, but they don't have a grind. And I was like, this looks like a good machete. And on top of that, it cost $16, $15.99. And I was like, well, that's really cheap. So, if this machete doesn't perform that well, it's not like I'm out a whole lot of money. I guess before I get further into the review, let's start on the stats and specifications. The steel is 3CR13. The handle material is a TPR, which is kind of rubbery. It's a full tang, nylon sheath. Overall length is 18.25 inches or 46.35 centimeters. It weighs 13.2 ounces. And this machete, to me, has a lot of potential. It's relatively short, relatively lightweight. It's packable. If you live in a city or state that don't allow you to have firearms, this would be a great home defense weapon because it's very maneuverable, has a lot of cutting potential, and has a decent point on it. It's not the best point, it's not very acute, but with my testing, it's a decent point. Anyways, I didn't bring the camera with me to my testing. Usually when I do testing videos, I film it on my cell phone. I have my brother with me. We'll take turns filming and testing the product, and he'll have his commentary, I'll have my commentary, and I like doing that better. So I could have brought my camera that I'm using right now and filmed it myself, but it's just not ideal for me. I enjoy testing knives for my brother, and if he's not around, I usually just do it solo and come back with the results in the tabletop. It has two retention straps. It has this snap and this Velcro, but you'll notice with this Velcro being in the closed position, you can pull out the machete. As you can see, I did use it. And my dad, I'm not going to try it because I'm still kind of confused how he did it, but he still managed to put the machete back in a sheath without undoing Velcro. So in my mind, the Velcro, I don't really like the Velcro. I wish there was a Velcro snap combination. It's so you can open this up and stick the tip in there and then fold the edge in. But the Velcro is the only strap that really, to me, does anything. And it's not going to fall out, you know, during use of what's on your belt. So I really don't care for this. But that's all I'm going to say about the sheath. The sheath is cheap nylon, ballistic nylon, and it gets the job done. Now let's talk about the blade. TPR, I think it's just a fancy word for Rebel. It sticks in the hand. It's not like Kraton, but I've swung this quite a bit and I didn't feel my grip slipping. I chopped bamboo and greenwood, and I also threw this into some trees at my testing grounds. And it throws very well. And I mostly did the throw test to make sure that the blade doesn't snap or the tip doesn't snap. That's what the tip looks like from the factory. You know, it's not, you know, it doesn't come to a point, but it is, you could still stab with it. And I did all kinds of cutting with this. I did the standard, you know, kind of X. I cut up. I went to bamboo, and I don't know how familiar you are with bamboo, but bamboo has joints called nodes. And I don't have a pen with me, so I can't draw a picture. But these nodes, these sections, usually are pretty straight and pretty even. They're about that long, and they are on top of each other. And you see, like on the survival shows, they'll cut into one of these nodes, and there'll be water in them, and they'll drink water, and they'll be like, oh, that's how you survive. Drink water from bamboo. And that's also how they make canteens and other stuff. They use those bamboo nodes as containers. Anyways, some of those nodes sometimes gets distorted, and you'll have nodes that are very close together, and they'll diagonal, and there's like a bunch of them really close together. I also chopped into those because those are inherently strong and pretty tough to cut. And I chopped into some a little bit of dry bamboo, and I'll tell you, this thing did such a good job at chopping through bamboo. And greenwood. It bit in deep, and with minimal effort I could snap cut through relatively thin pieces of bamboo, and it looked like it was going to be the you know, perfect machete for the price. I thought this was going to, you know, kind of replace the cold steel machete. And some of you who have a good eye can already see what went wrong with this machete. Like I said, it has a legitimate, you know, grind, thin edge. Oh, by the way, fun factory, the sharpness wasn't razor sharp, but my brother ran it over a sharpening steel and ceramic rods, and it was hair shaving sharp all the way up the edge. You know, and that's with just a couple of passes on the steel and ceramics. It didn't need much to make it razor sharp. But anyway, like I said, those of you who have a good eye can see what went wrong with this knife. Look at that. That little deformation right there. You can see it. I got another one up here somewhere. Let's see. Got some stuff right there, but that is like really extreme. It just rolled over like a piece of tin foil. And tell you the truth, I'm a little bit disappointed, but a little bit relieved. Disappointed that this didn't live up to my expectations for its durability, but relieved that I didn't spend a lot of money on it. You know, this was a sub $20 machete, and it bites in deep. I don't know, I might be able to get a hammer and pound that out, and I will try that. And if I am able to pound it out, I'll make an update video. But anyways, I need an anvil, something that would act like an anvil, which I don't have. Anyways, that is the only bad thing about this machete. And it's true what Maury Cardle says about knives, or blades in general. A knife or any kind of blade needs to be as thin as possible, but still be able to withstand the abuse that you're going to give it. It's a very true statement. There was a fad going on in the knife industry of 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch thick knives, big slabs of metal that are not really ground that well. They'll basically pry balls, and it's almost like cutting is a second function to the knife being thick. And there's nothing wrong with like a thick blade. They have their purpose, but I don't really think it's necessarily a folding knife quality, or a quality you want in a folding knife. Anywho, blades need to be as thin as possible while still being able to withstand the abuse that you're going to give it. And I didn't try to break this knife or bend it. I guess you could say I abused it. I treated it like the average machete user would treat a machete. Especially if you're using a machete for hours on end and you're getting tired and your edge alignment is dwindling a little bit, and your edge alignment is lacking. Like I said, I cut many different angles, I cut just off horizontal, and it cut very well. I don't know exactly when this happened, but I did notice it. So that was the end of my chopping test. I did decide to throw this into some pine trees, and it stuck really well in the pine tree. I'm not an awesome knife thrower, but I found this relatively easy to throw. I did miss a few times, and knife throwing or machete throwing is actually a pretty good test for durability. It's a lot of shock on the blade, and I've had several blades break on me. Well, not several. I've had a few blades break on me during the throwing process, and the tips might break off, or if the transition from the ricasso to the tang is off, it'll snap right there, or if the blade isn't heat treated right, it might snap in the middle. It's a good test for durability. But I threw it, and what I did was, luckily I have a sonic cup right here. After it, let me see if I can walk off the tripod. After I stuck it into the tree, let's say it stuck sideways like this, instead of pulling it out this way to pull the point out, I actually pushed in this way to move the point. The point's leaving the tree like that way. I don't know. I did that, and it was amazing to me how deep this blade bit into the pine tree after the tip was stuck in, and I pushed it in like that. It just kept sinking into the tree, and I was like, wow, this knife has a lot of cutting potential, but that's the downfall of this knife. It's so finely grinded, it's so thin, and it's relatively soft. It has the potential to cut. The potential to cut is so great that it compromises the integrity of the knife, i.e. that right there. It's very puzzling to me. If I can fix it, I'll be happy. And I'll say, yes, $15, this is an awesome machete. It's relatively lightweight, fast. Like I said, it would make a good home defense weapon if you can't have a gun. Don't expect the blade to, be in the same shape. It won't be factory fresh after splitting some skulls with it, but it'll last long enough to end the encounter. But so in that sense, it might be a disposable weapon, which is good. for those people who wish to throw it in the river. It doesn't cost you a lot of money. Not that I promote anything like that, I'm just joking. But yeah, $15. The cutting barrel is amazing. Its durability is not. So that's it. That's the review. I had a lot of high hopes for this. I liked the way it looked aesthetically, as far as the blades profiled. It has a very good cutting grind, just not a very durable grind. And I bought this at Academy for $15.99. It ended up being like 16 something. So I didn't really lose a lot of money in it. In fact, I might just take this back to Academy and exchange it for another one, and just, I don't know, donate it to my place of work, because the Machete is horrible. It's terrible. They use it to cut sod. But anyways, that's it. I hope y'all having a great day. I'm a Satsu5, and I'm out.